Hello everybody, my name is Nathan Graham. I always grew up in church with the opportunity to know God, but had difficulties with my life with blended families. My mom being here in Denton and my dad in Colorado. With blended families came a lot of blessings. Like I gained an extra mom and dad and lots of extra siblings that I love very much. But it also came with a curse, an eternal battle of not knowing exactly where I belonged. I didn't know how to choose which family I wanted to live with and break either of my family's hearts by not choosing them or break my own. So as a result, I chose neither. I went out on my own at a young age and started to stray. In high school, I started going further into my darkness and sin, sneaking out, getting in trouble, and worse. So I thought it would be best to move to Colorado full time and run from my problems, thinking that the grass was going to be greener on the other side, thinking that a new scenery would change the things that were going on inside of my heart, but obviously they didn't. Nothing changed. Me and my dad fought often. I was failing classes. I hadn't changed my behavior or realized what part of my heart was missing, causing me to run back again to Denton. Upon moving back to Denton, I started going deeper into my sin and trying to fill the void in my heart that belonged to God with substance abuse. But God was still tugging on my heartstrings. I went to a youth group one night and I happened to be high. It was a cry for help. I wanted somebody to see me and tell me that it was going to be okay. But the exact opposite happened. A leader that had walked the same kind of road as me when she was younger called me out in front of all my peers and made that void in my heart a little bit deeper. So I turned away from the church and took my heart from God. Yeah, so I turned my heart away from God and the church at that point in time, just because I feel like the people that were supposed to be there to help me weren't really there to help me. And so, again, further into my substance abuse I go. Unfortunately, with drugs, you're never satisfied. You're constantly chasing highs, going deeper into the void, thinking that you're going to fill your heart with substance. I moved back and forth consistently from Texas to Colorado as I go further and further in. I start doing drugs like acid and Molly and using all my friends and family that were trying to help me take some help for a while and then turn around and burn the bridge that they were trying to support me on. On this journey, I thought it would be a good idea to bring weed back from Colorado. I ended up getting locked up in jail for a week and was on probation for 2. And I did look at this as a good thing. God was taking me out of the realm that I was used to being in, all the people that I was used to being around, because I didn't want to throw my life away for smoking weed. And it worked for a while. I never really had forgiven people at church or anything like that, so I never found my way back into church at that point in time. So it was me just kind of roughing it on my own, just saying I didn't want to do drugs, so I'm not, but I really didn't have God at the center of that. I knew that this was God working, but I didn't really put any emphasis on it. So I start working at this detail shop at that time. I get introduced to other drugs that get out of your system in 3 days, and so I started doing cocaine. Didn't really think that I would get addicted to it. Thought it was just something fun, and it numbed the pain, and it numbed everything actually. And so, getting further into that, I actually do get addicted to it. Play with fire and you're going to get burned. And so, I was on it for about a year, and it did not feel like a year at all. Time flew. I ended up going to this party. I was already drugged up and stuff, and I tried methamphetamines for the first time, and I was instantly hooked. Thank God I was only on it for about a month before I couldn't look at myself in the mirror anymore. I hated who I was, and I hated who I'd become, and it was almost to a point where I didn't remember who I was before this. I didn't remember my childhood, growing up in church, and all the people that I loved, and the true joy that I found through that. So I cried out to God, please help me, strip everything away. And I felt like God did that in a sense. He took everybody away from me so I could focus back on Him. He was tugging on my heartstrings to go back to Colorado for another time. I didn't want to go, didn't want to leave my family and my friends, but I was trusting God with the battlefield that He had chose. So I ended up going back to Colorado. First thing I do is I start going to church with my family, my dad, and miraculously, I got off drugs very easily. Like, I didn't have withdrawals, I didn't have anything like that. I mean, I had struggles still, of course, of wants and stuff like that, but God was mending my heart at a very fast pace. And He wanted me in Colorado for more reasons than that. Part of my broken heart was feeling like a disappointment my whole life, and feeling like I was a mistake because my dad is paralyzed and he wasn't supposed to be able to have kids. So I thought I was a mistake my whole life. So the battlefield being in Colorado was me getting off drugs, me mending my heart with my dad and also with my Heavenly Father. And that part of the story, it was about 1.5 years ago. So I moved with my family from there to Kansas. I find a church that I love. I love the preacher. I'm learning a lot. I'm actually diving in. I'm getting into Bible studies. And they say that you find pure joy from the Lord, and that's exactly what I was finding. I rededicated my life. I got baptized, and I still kind of felt like I was missing something, and I was missing my peers. I was around all older men, which is great. You learn wisdom from older men, but peers to tell my everyday struggles to, what I'm going through at that time. I made the decision to finally come back to Denton. Very scared, because this is where most of my stuff happened. Most of my drug addiction came from here and everything like that. So I was really scared and hesitant, and I knew exactly when I got back that I had to find a church with a college ministry or young adults. And I made the move. I got back here, I got plugged in at Denton Bible. I made a lot of new friends that I feel comfortable talking about my life with, and that aren't scared to tell me that, hey, you're not doing the right thing here. They're not afraid to call me out. And so I started volunteering, really trying to be selfless instead of selfish in my life. And yeah, my road has been long, and it's been a rough road, but God bringing me back to Him has brought me the most joy in my life.